This is a massive season for the Bills front office. They promoted former OC Joe Brady to the head coach. Brandon Beane is the last man standing in the power struggle between Sean McDermott and himself. But it's not just the front office that it has big question marks going into the season. There's also a player in particular, a former first-round pick who is touted as Josh's new #1 target, who has been very disappointed. Going into the final year of his contract, this is his biggest season of his career, and this could be massive for him. But before we get into all of that, let's have a quick shout out to today's presenting sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the #1 sports picking app in the USA, and you can use the link down below in the description and use code DIGEST. That is code DIGEST when you are signing up to receive a bonus $50 when you play $5 or more. Again, use the link down below in the description, and when you're signing up, use code DIGEST. I got some picks for you guys later on in this video so you can take full advantage of this bonus. Thank you to Prize Pick for sponsoring today's video, and let's get right into it. Now, like I said, guys, this is one of the most pivotal off seasons in recent Bills memory. Brandon Beane won the power struggle with Sean McDermott. Joe Brady is now officially the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Training camp is around the corner. There's a brand new defensive scheme, but there's one face on the offensive side of the ball who might have the biggest season going forward on the offensive side of the ball, that being tight end Dalton Kincaid, and what we could potentially expect from not just a contract extension, but further on beyond. The Bills did pick up his fifth-year option. One of the key decisions that the Bills had made going into the offseason was deciding whether or not they would pick up the fifth-year option for tight end Dalton Kincaid. Since Kincaid was a first-round pick in 2023, where the Bills traded up to get him, he was eligible for this option. And the Bills ended up picking up his fifth-year option. Now he's set to essentially have a 2-year deal with $10 million guaranteed per Sportstrack. Now the Bills gave the answer to that question. The next one they will have to answer is whether or not they will eventually give him a contract extension to keep him in Buffalo long term. This has been an ever-growing battle with Kincaid. Are they going to keep him? What are they going to do? Well, they answered that question with picking up his fifth-year option, which for $10 million, I do not see an issue with that. And last season, there was big hype about Kincaid going into his fourth year. Started off very strong. We saw very much a dip in production from Kincaid, as he only did play 12 games for the Bills, finishing off with 39 receptions for 571 yards and 1 total touchdown. Started the season super hot. Was very much single-handedly destroying the New England Patriots in that first contest of the season, then got injured, and that's where we saw the injuries derail his season again. Now going into this offseason, or I guess coming into OTAs, Joe Brady recently talked about Kincaid and how he visibly looks bigger and stronger this season per Matty Glab, which gives the Bills fans hope that he can finally have a breakout season that he had glimpses of. Now, like I said, very much a disappointing year last year for the Bills. Started off strong, started off really hot. Then the injuries kind of stacked up, and had his first 100-yard receiving game, multiple touchdown game before that Patriots game, and then obviously is kind of a bit of a non-factor. There were high expectations. He was supposed to be the guy that when you have man coverage, you can see him underneath, and that looked like it was there, but we will see what happens going forward. This article does have a quick prediction from Sportstrack. Recently wrote about 6 tight ends in the league who could possibly have extensions coming. Janidi predicted whether or not these players will get an extension sooner than later. With Kincaid, Janidi is predicting that the Bills will not give Kincaid an extension, and that would be a smart choice by the Bills. He went on by saying, after catching 70-plus passes in his rookie campaign, Kincaid has settled back into more of a selective role in the Buffalo's offense, most notably due to injury management, but did find plenty of red zone success in 2025. He remains a bit of an unfinished project heading into 2026, but the Bills exercised the fifth-year option to open up a little more time for both parties. Now, speaking of what that contract extension could potentially look like for the Bills and Kincaid. Sports Track's evaluation on Kincaid is 3 years, worth $43 million, about 14.3 average per year, which would put him as one of the higher paid tight ends. When Kincaid is on the field, the Bills' offense is better, but the problem has been availability. That's why Buffalo should be looking to hold off if Kincaid is worth the long-term investment. We've seen this in the past. The Bills signed Dawson Knox to a big-time contract. He is now tight end number 2. Kincaid is quote-unquote a part-time player for the Bills. Injury risk is something that has been hampering him for a while. Chance of injury in 2026, 77%. Chance of injury per game, 8.3%. Projected games missed in 2026, 3.5. And his availability or his durability is 5 out of 10. Or is 5 out of 5, 5 being the most durable. Head injury, shoulder injury, pectoral injury, arm, a whole lot. Just going through the whole injury list. Let's get this full screen so you guys can see this as a whole. Starting off in October 2027, not NFL, shoulder AC joint sprain. This was in college, and then also in college, back tailbone fracture. Kincaid was landed awkwardly versus Colorado and missed the Rose Bowl. Surgery was not required, but he sat out the Senior Bowl and the NFL Combine. And then, starting off in the NFL, head concussion, entered NFL concussion protocol following Week 5. He missed one game. Then in 2024, shoulder unspecified. Kincaid was listed as a limited participant due to a collarbone injury ahead of his Week 7 game against the Tennessee Titans. And then obviously where the big issues have been coming with his knee PCL sprain. He missed 3 games due to it. Kincaid suffered an injury in Week 10, a game versus the Colts. The injury lingered throughout the 2025 season, and that's where the injuries have continued to pile up. Knee strain during training camp. I remember this one very, very well. Kincaid missed practice in training camp due to a knee issue. He had a sleeve on the same knee as his PCL injury from 2024. And then last season, abdominal muscle sprain / pull. Kincaid was inactive against Week 6 against the Atlanta Falcons due to an oblique injury. This was after that Patriots game where he kind of came out after the second half. And then finally, Kincaid injured his right hamstring in the third quarter of a Week 10 game against the Miami Dolphins, which he missed 3 games. So the injury history, as we can see right over here, is just long. The laundry list is a long one. And this is obviously a question mark of what the Bills want to do with Dalton Kincaid. Are you going to play a part-time player that much money? As great as he is, as great as he could potentially be, do you want to hedge your bets on someone with an injury history like that? Someone who obviously the potential is there, the stats that first half of last year's season were there. The guy has never gotten over, I believe, 600 or 700 yards receiving as a tight end. He was supposed to be one of the next best great tight ends for the Bills. That has not been the factor so far, and potentially what could the Bills want to do with Dalton Kincaid going forward. There is a ton of questions. If you want to pay a contract that much with the injury history, do you want to be potentially paying that much money for a part-time player? But before we wrap up today's video, I want to have one more quick shout out to today's presenting sponsor, Prize Picks. Use the link down below in the description when you sign up and use code DIGEST, and you can apply these picks to take advantage of this bonus. We're all Bills fans here. We all think they're going to win the championship, so why not make some money on it and pick yes. And then finally, season player picks. Puka Nacua picking less. Ton going on this offseason. Devontae Adams is still there. Matt Stafford is 1 year older, so we'll see what happens there. Newly acquired number 1 receiver, DJ Moore. I would be hammering and picking the more on his season total. And then finally, Josh Allen. I would be picking and hammering down the less on his season rushing total. The guy's getting older, coming off injury, and I can see the Bills preserving him for as long as they can to bring those legs out in the playoffs. And you can use all these picks yourself using the link down below in the description and using code DIGEST. That is code DIGEST. Helps out the channel a ton if you sign up, and we appreciate Prize Picks for sponsoring today's video. Now, wrapping up today's video, guys, I want to hear from you guys down below in the comments. What are your expectations for Kincaid this year? Do you think it's worth it for a contract like that for Kincaid? If he has a big season, should the Bills bring him back, or should the injury history kind of be in the back of the Bills' mind with Brandon Beane and not get snake bitten kind of like they did with the Dawson Knox contract? Let me know down below in the description. Love to hear from you guys as always. On top of that, if you are not subscribed already, subscribe down below. We're on the road to 3,000 subscribers, and we appreciate every single one of you. And like I always say, guys, subscribe, stay in touch, stay informed, and go Bills.